water so that we can try to stay on track and hopefully move along. Hi, David.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you all for putting aside your time for at the beginning of a long weekend. I know it's a lot to ask, but I really appreciate your cooperation. And we're trying to support the TA's office and get our interviews done. And that's primarily why I called the meeting. But I also have to say the closing date for applications is not until June 1st at 12 noon. So if another application comes in between now and then, we have to do something about that. But maybe we'll do it just at our June 14th meeting. Anyway, that's the situation. And as I understand it, our 3 applicants and myself are here. I'm up for reappointment. And okay. Moving on. I would like to first, under the next announcement section, have give the mic to Ashley, so to speak. She requested some time. She wanted to share with the board the latest about lightening up the restrictions. I think, is that a good way of putting it, Ashley?
Yes, I just have a few announcements to make. It won't take longer than 5 minutes, I promise. But I do hear some chirping in the background, so I don't know if someone has a bird at home. Does anyone else hear that, or am I just hearing things?
I'm hearing it. I'm hearing it also.
Okay.
I think it's mine. It's not my bird. I think it's outside. I'll mute.
Okay. Just a few announcements. I wanted to inform the board that the Friends of the Littleton Council on Aging made a gift donation to support our mindful meditation program. The first session we had at Long Lake Beach, and we are planning a second session at Bay Park, and they contributed $260 towards that program. That program was developed through applying for a grant, Shauna 15, thanks to Nicole, our assistant director, and partially subsidized by the Friends organization. So I just wanted to acknowledge them, and that gift will be accepted at the next select board meeting coming up. Recently, we had developed a communications piece titled, "How Well Do You Know the Elder and Human Services Department in Littleton," which has been shared to our Facebook page, the website. We are flyering at different businesses and organizations in town in efforts to continue to educate the community about the department and the scope of services which we provide. We'll be having extra copies at town meeting, and we are hoping to have a table there as well. So looking for volunteers to help staff that table on that day. And then, as everyone knows, effective May 29th, the governor has relaxed the mask and gathering requirements. However, our department will continue to proceed with caution over the next few months. So I just wanted to give an update in terms of where we're at. For programming updates, June 1st opens program registrations for June activities, all listed in the broadcaster by calling the department's main line. And we are continuing to offer virtual programs. We have some grab and go offerings scheduled, as well as outdoor activities. We are still encouraging residents to call ahead and make an appointment if they wish to speak with a member of the outreach department. And then regarding reopening of Council on Aging programs and activities, we are hoping to do that starting in July. So the plan is all subject to change based on local and state guidance. So we are planning a phased back approach to normal with a plan to slowly and steadily welcome back programs and activities. We will still be requiring people to pre-register with limited attendance for the program opportunities. And, you know, we just ask for everyone's patience as we make a transition plan back to normalcy.
Great. Thank you,
I
Ashley.
received one of those flyers about knowing about Elder and Human Services Department in my light bill.
Thank you, Light and Water Department,
Yes,
for including that piece. So we appreciate their support, and I'm so
was there.
glad. That's great. Great
Yeah.
news.
And then the notation on the back of the light bill as well. That's also on the bill this month. So you did good, Ashley. Get all that
Excellent.
in.
Great ideas. Collaborative effort as always.
I know, you know, the handout that you got, Anita, I just got a copy the other day when I was down doing the taping. Ashley gave me a copy of it, and it's really, really nicely done. It's a
It
very,
is.
very
It's
impressive
thorough.
handout. Yes,
Very thorough. Yeah.
very thorough
Great.
and descriptive of the department. So,
My husband read it this morning and was impressed. So,
yep, yeah.
Get-
Well, people just don't understand everything that EHS does. So, great effort, and I think it's going to be certainly worthwhile. Any questions for Ashley? No? Then we will move on. So it sounds exciting, Ashley. I think we're on the move. I noticed that the transportation is going to be on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, starting June 7th. So that's not waiting until July. So things are slowly starting to get back to normal. And that's exciting, I think. And it will take a while for the word to get out, I'm sure, but people will start to, slowly resume using the transportation vehicles in town. So, all right. Any other comments about that before we move on?
the only thing I would say is the outdoor activities. I had my craft class for May outside on the patio, and we had 2 classes, 8 and 8, and it was phenomenal. Everybody came, everybody had a great time. Everybody followed the rules, and the biggest thing out of it was everybody was just happy to be together and socialize. So I hope you all sign up for my June class, because that will be outside as well. And we will be decorating decorative birdhouses. We will be painting decorative birdhouses. So come and enjoy the social and creativity.
Great. Thank you, Anita. And thanks for doing that. That people really like your craft classes. They're great. So, and they've been going on with grab and go throughout. So that's one of the things that really has been a great, availability of, creativity for people. So thank you very much for doing that. And for everybody, that's involved. It's not just Anita. She has helpers. Susan helps her, and my friend Kathy Coughlin helps. I call them the 3 Musketeers. So, okay. All right, let's move on to then, if there's no other questions for Ashley, why don't we move on to interviewing? Do we have with us? Yes, David? David's got his hand up.
Yes, he does. We neglected to read the open meeting law thing.
I don't have to read that anymore. You mean I just have to remind you that this is an open meeting, which I
Oh,
didn't
you-
do.
Oh, you don't have to, not even in the
No.
Zoom? Okay, all right.
No. I announced that at our last meeting. We don't have to read that anymore. I got the clearance from Diane Croy. She said we did not have to read it.
Perfect.
I know. I almost
Well-
got it. Yeah. So,
All right,
but thank you.
Please continue.
Well, thank you for reminding me, though. I'm glad you have my back. So,
Got your back, got your back.
yeah, okay. All right, Ashley, do we have anyone with us? Do we have any of our applicants with us?
We have one applicant as an
Oh.
attendee. Would you like me to promote her?
Yes, would you please?
Sure.
I hope they're not having trouble getting in to the meeting. And also,
Well,
go ahead, David.
yeah, the link off of the agenda that's posted is dead. You have to go to the town website to get in.
Thank you for making that. I was going to, say that. I find that it's much easier to get in through the town website, the calendar on the town website.
Yeah.
So, if you go in there and click on the meeting and then click on, it says the COA meeting, click on that and it will bring you right to the agenda and the Zoom link, which always works for me. So. All right. Do we have, is it Marilyn or is it Lori Lee? Ashley's shaking her head.
Laura Lee, sorry.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
Hi, this is Lorelai Richardson. Nice to meet you all.
Sorry. I'm sorry, Lorelei. I mispronounced your name. Hi there. Nice to meet you. And welcome to the Council on Aging Board. We're almost all here. We have one member who's gets out of work at 3:30 and she's on her way home and will be joining us late, but I think we are all here otherwise. So, and the board has seen your application, has received a copy of it. So we really appreciate spending some time with you and talking to you. And we have a tradition or habit of we ask the same questions of all applicants, and they're questions that the board prepares. And so I'm going to turn it over to the board and just start. And, if you don't mind, I'm going to start. I will call on, since we're on Zoom, we can't go around a table too easily. So I will call on people and just start with the first question, and then the second person takes the second question. And at any time, ask us questions. Please feel comfortable doing that. We're a very friendly group. So please do that. All right, let's start with Mark.
Okay. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and why you desire to be on the COA board.
Sure. So I am originally from Maine and I've been living in Massachusetts since 2009. I moved here because I married a U.S. Marine and I started grad school then as well. And we've been living in Littleton since 2016. I have a little boy who's 5. He's into zombies and dinosaurs. And I have a baby girl who will be turning 1 next week.
Thank you.
And I was interested in joining the board. I have a friend who is the director of the Lincoln Council on Aging. We went to grad school together. We studied gerontology, which is the study of aging. And she said, "Did you know about this great opportunity?" And so I didn't know that it was an option. So I applied. Sounded exciting.
Well, we're excited to have you here with us today. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Susan, can you take question number 2, please?
Can try to. What is your understanding of the role and responsibility of the COA board and the role and responsibility of EHS, Elder and Human Services?
So my understanding of board members is an advisory role. I'm assuming a few hours a month. Certainly more if there are additional tasks that come your way. and then I guess using past experiences, using research, talking to other groups to sort of get ideas to pitch, I think is the role of an advisory board, and discussing things and bringing everybody's ideas together. And the role of elder services in the community, I've seen on the website, certainly the fun activities that have been going on. And I heard the exciting news about the center to come. So just some great resources for the folks in our community.
Great. Okay, David, how about taking number 3?
Oh, okay. Hi, Lorelei, how are you? And please thank your husband for his service.
Oh, will do. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, okay. So, what experience do you possess that qualifies you for a position on the COA board? So I can hardly wait because this is going to be good. So go ahead.
I've never served on a board before, but I have volunteered with some elder services at the Somerville Home, which is actually closed now, is a program for older adults. And but I would say something that's more related would be my internship at Ethos in Jamaica Plain. They have a lot of great programs. They do Tai Chi, they do lots of health education and things like that. And from a research side, I've worked as a researcher, and from an academic side, I have a PhD in gerontology, which is the study of aging. And so I'd say that's the piece that I can bring to this group. And I think it's good to have a mixture of older, that's my dad, of older adults in the group, of people who are experienced, of people who bring, who can bring that different aspect and just all come together with these great ideas.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
All right. Hi, Maureen. Oh, you're muted. Yep, you're muted.
There we go.
There we go.
Okay, hi. How
you.
are you, Lorelei?
You want to go along with on to question number 4?
Okay, so we're asking about other volunteer positions that you've had, and what did you actually do in that, or other positions?
So when I was with Ethos, I was mainly involved in creating surveys and reporting forms for them. They wanted to get a sense from the community what sorts of ideas they wanted Ethos to put on. They also needed something to report to their funder, I suppose. So after events, they would give out a survey. Just kind of questions like, did you enjoy this? Did it help you in this realm, in that realm? But I also got an opportunity to attend some of the events and help with, they had luncheons, they had a prom, which was super fun. And so that was neat. Other volunteer opportunities I've been involved in on not related to aging, but I helped out with the Sudbury Asabit National Wildlife Refuge, helping write some grants with them.
Thank you.
Can I interject a question?
Certainly, Anita.
Do you have grant writing experience?
I do. I've been grant writing for about 7 years.
Very good.
I'm sure Ashley loves to hear that, I think. Okay. All right. Let's see. Gary was here. I don't see him now. Oh, there he is. I'm sorry. He's there. Hi, Gary. I'm sorry. You were there and then I didn't focus accurately. How about moving on to question number 5?
Absolutely. Good afternoon. The next question has to deal with the fact that the COA board engages in various discussions, obviously, in many topics, sometimes with disagreements. how would you, or how do you handle situations that become contentious, especially in meeting forums like this, or even the meetings when we're in person, perhaps once again?
So, I got a new job almost 2 years ago, and this was one of the interview questions. Similar, how do you handle conflict on a team? And I didn't quite know how to answer that question. Just I don't know how to now, because I don't see it that way. I see it as our passions coming together and an opportunity to just sort of keep discussing it. I don't see someone getting really upset and storming off, but if that does happen and everybody needs to cool off, I think that's certainly understandable. But I think we're all capable of being a respectful group and just sort of pulling on those passions and continuing to discuss it. And I would say that, is there a director of the board? Is there one sort of superseding entity that it would break a tie if we had a vote? I'm not sure what the dynamics are, but I guess that's what I would assume would happen.
Well, I can jump in and answer a couple of those questions for you, Lori. Actually, we have an odd number on the board, 9 members, specifically so that helps prevent a situation of, a tie vote. I mean, I suppose if you didn't have, an odd number present when you were voting, then that might be a problem, but we've not had a problem. So I don't anticipate problems either, but it's a question that, yes, people sometimes ask. So, but we have a great history of working together, and there's new members, come, and people do step aside. So, yep. And we do have the officers, the chair and the vice chair, and there is a secretary or clerk who is right now we have a helper doing our minutes for us, but yeah, basically it's a vice chair and a chair positions. So, and then we have subcommittees, and then there's chairs of the subcommittees, so which is not the chair of the whole board. So there are, opportunities to be working mainly when there are things going on that requires a little bit more attention, like the senior center right now. That's a big issue for everybody to think about and to work on. So if that helps anyway. When you mentioned that, I figured I'd just throw it out there for you. So
Thank you.
Okay. I don't know if Ann Lee's on by phone, or Ann Lee, are you there? I see
She's muted.
she's muted, I know. And I don't know whether she's yet home or, but I see she's on, but she's not responding. So we'll move on. I guess, Anita, I haven't asked you to do a question, have I?
No, you haven't.
Well, I am now, so thank you.
Well, we'll try.
Okay, we'll
Well-
come back and check on Ann Lee later.
Welcome, Lorelei. Statistics indicate Littleton's aging population will increase incrementally over the next 5 to 10 years. What do you believe are the greatest needs that should be addressed now to help with the growing needs in the future?
So this is true across a lot of communities. As time goes, the proportion of older adults in the community is going up. And I think one unaddressed need might be transportation, not just, I think it's hard to provide transportation for when you want it or when you need it and where you need to go. And I think it's wonderful that the town would be able to provide any kind of a transportation, but limiting it to certain days at certain hours is still limiting it. And so I think that's one unaddressed need that I might be passionate about. It was also my dissertation topic. I was looking at driving as a factor of aging in place for rural older adults. I wouldn't say Littleton is rural, but it's certainly not the urban center, that it doesn't have all the services that somewhere like Boston might have. So I'd say that some of those pieces are amenable.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. I see Ann Lee is still, she was trying to get home and she pulled over, I think. So I'm so sorry, Ann Lee.
Yeah, I'm here. Well, because there's some accident someplace and we're
Oh,
sort of
no.
at a standstill.
Oh, no. Oh, I'm sorry about that, but I don't know
That's
whether you
okay,
have,
but I
Go ahead.
don't have the questions in front of me because I'm on my phone.
oh, that's what I was wondering. I didn't know where you were. And so that's why I was, wanted to ask you. I didn't want to exclude you though. So, but
Right, no, I'm here. Thank you.
if you have a question for her,
I
that's
do
all-
not have a question.
Okay.
It's
then
just
we-
very nice to see Lorelai's, what she has to offer
on
to
her
the group,
Yes,
her background, yeah, on her application.
it's very impressive, I think. Okay, then there's one question left. I'm going to go back to Mark. I don't think I've skipped over anyone else.
Susan,
I did. Susan did ask a question.
oh, sorry.
Nope, that's okay. So we'll go back. I started with Mark. Mark, where are you? There you are.
I'm here. There's 2 questions, right? We didn't do
Well,
the,
Well, the last one, or did we skip a question? I think it's question number
Yeah,
7.
Questions 7 and 8.
okay. Do you believe the COA board members should attend other town board committee meetings such as the select board, finance, planning board, so on and so forth? You're muted.
You muted yourself. I'm sorry. Hi.
I thought I unmuted myself, sorry. I think that might make sense. I'm less familiar with how the budgeting works for the COA, but I think it makes sense if those things are going to be discussed there to have representation of the group that's being discussed.
Great.
Thank you.
And the last question is, and I'll take that one. It's just me, do you have any questions for us? That the questions might have prompted in your mind or whatever. So feel
So
free.
I got a chance to speak with both Marge and Ashley before this meeting. So I did get all my questions out at this point.
Okay. All right, then. We're not that bad. See, it wasn't. Questions weren't that tough. I don't think.
I was really nervous.
Were you?
So we
Well-
hope you're not nervous now.
No, thank you.
So, and I like to just let people know that when we conclude the questions that, the process is that all board members in the town are appointed by the select board. And you're considered an employee of the town. You don't get paid. You're a volunteer employee of the town, but because you're considered a volunteer, you have to take the open meeting law training. It's online, and the town clerk guides you in that. And they're also talking about establishing some training for boards, period. I heard that at the last select board meeting, so. But the obligation of being on a board brings with it, and, some expectations. And that is, as I just mentioned, adhering to various laws and taking the training that the town clerk offers and suggests that or tells us to do. And also you have to be sworn in by the town clerk if you are appointed by the select board. We on the COA board have asked board members to participate in some kind of a training session or taking some course, or it can be even a half a day, meeting, dealing with an issue that's appropriate to the population that we're working with. So, and it's just a way to try to have people up on some current information because things change over time. And of course, reliably attending meetings. And we do normally meet, and the town is already talking about getting back to in-person meetings. As I mentioned earlier, that we have subcommittees at times, not always active subcommittees. Right now, we have a subcommittee, it's called the Visioning Subcommittee, but that's the group that really is working on paying attention more closely to the senior center project that's going on. And then we do have a housing subcommittee too, and that's the group that's paying more attention to the lack of affordable housing in town for seniors. So, and it's, every board member is invited and asked to serve on a subcommittee just to help out. And those groups, you know, focus in on their areas of specialty. And with that, you know, about that is, as I said, I try to watch the select board meetings myself. You know, whether I attend them, I used to attend sometimes in person, but now I'm spoiled. You know, being home and watching them on Zoom and being able to participate without leaving the house is kind of a little, I think I'm spoiled. So I think probably other people might find the difference too, but anyway. So.
No, we think you're spoiled too.
Oh, thanks, Mark. I am spoiled. I'm going to tell you because you're a wonderful group of people to work with. I've been around for a few years and yeah, we have a wonderful group of people on this board now. So it's an exciting time. People are interested. They participate. Ashley's shaking her head and she's right. Yeah, we have a great group. So
We typically meet on the second Monday of the month at 1:30, but that's up for discussion again, I presume.
was going to say, this is a good time, I guess, as well as any. I was going to suggest that perhaps we could discuss that at a June 14th meeting. Years ago, several years ago, maybe Maureen, were you on the board when the topic of changing the meeting time of the meeting? Yes, came up, and we were asked twice by the town administrator to reconsider, you know, to talk about changing the time of the board meeting from the afternoon to the evening. In the first discussion we had, the board did not vote favorably to do that. Then the town administrator asked us to revisit it and we had to have another discussion about it, which we did, right, Maureen?
We did.
Yes, we did. And at that time, the people on the board did not want to change the time of the meeting. However, we have a totally different board now, and I think it certainly would be worth discussing. And it would, go ahead, Mark.
I was just going to suggest if we're doing that, we do that at the July or August meeting, whichever month we're having the meeting, after there's a new board rather than
Right.
beforehand. So not
Correct.
June.
No, that's okay. And that we can, we have a few things to discuss at our June 14th meeting, and certainly we can discuss it in July or August, whenever. So, but it will be brought to the table, just so, I will put it on the agenda so that we do discuss it again. Okay. And as I said, I know that you understand that we work as an advisory we work with Ashley. Our job is to support Ashley and to help her out in any way we can. And a lot of it lately is trying to get messages out and communicating with the public. And I've been trying to write a lot of articles to get out and published in the paper. And so I was delighted to see that you have a background in that kind of thing. So it must be, you know, it's an interesting process, and especially in Littleton, when our local paper, you know, kind of died and people stopped subscribing to the Eagle Independent. And so there's not a news media, you know, it's hard to get information out in print in town, really. So, all right, any other questions for us? Any questions for anybody from the board?
No.
Nope. Okay. Well, we thank you, Laura Lee. You're welcome to stay. And we have, I don't know if the other candidates, we have two other candidates, and I don't know whether they're with us yet or not.
I don't see them.
Really?
I don't either, Marge.
I'm surprised. They were both going to be here and yeah. So, we have, I don't know what to say about that, quite frankly. They were both said they could be here, and I'm not sure. I did not send a reminder out yesterday to them, and perhaps that would have helped. But we will have to move along then. And
I suggest that we move on then.
I think we will move on. And what is the board's wishes? Would you like to take a vote now, or wait until you have talked to the other two candidates? How would you like to move on?
I think it makes sense to wait until we talk to the other candidates.
Okay,
Marge, how many seats are we filling again?
oh, do you want to talk about me? I reapplied too, by the way.
So we could ask you those same questions?
You could, if you'd like to, but
So it's your seat plus how many?
my seat plus 2 vacancies.
Okay, thank you. That was the question. I was a little
Yes.
confused on whether it was just 2 or if it was.
No,
Okay,
yeah, no, my seat, and then we have the vacancy created because Maureen is stepping down and Wendy Samarco resigned.
okay.
So, yes, so that's the story. We have 2 openings to fill as long as I am, the select board reappoint me. I have to get reappointed myself this year for another term, so. And I have applied for that, so. Okay, then we can move on. I'm going to have to get in touch with them. The board also does know, and we did interview one of the 2 people that were going to reapply today. And I know that she indicated she was going to be here, but I do not know where she is. And I don't know whether the board feels you want to ask the questions all over again either. So whether you need to interview her again.
I
But,
mean, I
she
think
wants to be
we had an
reconsidered.
opportunity- We had an opportunity to ask her all of these questions. It almost seems redundant to go through and ask her all these questions again.
It was so recent. And
Yeah.
she wanted to be reconsidered. Her application still was a valid application though, and I did talk to her and she wished to be reconsidered. So as long as the board understands that, and I don't, unless somebody on the board really wants to talk to her again, we can proceed at our next meeting once I find out what's happened with the 3rd person, so.
Yeah, I agree with Maureen. I think we don't have to interview her
Oh.
again.
Okey doke. All right, then I will try to find out. We have one person, Lorelei, that, I'm not sure what happened to him. It's a gentleman, so I'm not sure why he's not here. So.
It's
Okay,
not Nate, is it?
As was pointed out, the links are often broken depending on where you go from, so he might have picked the wrong spot. So-
Yep. Who knows?
There is a gentleman waiting in the attendees.
Oh, good.
That's Nate Long.
Oh, nope. Nate is a guest on at our meeting, so that's not the applicant. Okay. Well, why don't we proceed? And thank you again. And Lorelei, I will be in touch with you and let you know. We certainly will have a decision by next week, Tuesday. No, I promise that we don't have another meeting by then. So we are going to have to either have another special meeting or postpone this until June 14th, when we have our next regular board meeting. You would not have to come back for that meeting though. If, that would not be necessary. And I will leave it, the board will decide when how they want to handle this.
Unless you're more than welcome to come and listen to us drone on and on, so.
Right. We're hoping to have a quick meeting in June because it's like, but we have not a lot on the agenda and it would be after town meeting. We might have a lot to talk about. Who knows? So, okay. Moving on then.
Thank you, Lorelei.
And yes, thank you very much. I would like to just take a few minutes, and I think I've explained a little bit to the board that it was an oversight at our last meeting that I did not go back into the position statements that the visioning subcommittee and the housing subcommittee developed with their recommendations to the full board regarding what they felt should be the position of the board regarding the senior project, senior center project, and the affordable housing issues that have been going on in town. So should not take long. They have a position statement they'd like to share. Mark, do you have a copy of that? Your positioning statement, visioning subcommittee?
I don't think I do, or I don't know where it is. Let's say that.
I'm sorry. I apologize to you. Anita, do you have a copy of it?
I do.
Okay. Can you read it to the board in Mark, or, yeah?
Sure.
I'm thinking it will sound very familiar to you, Mark. I know you know what it is. It's just that, I didn't get that to you, and I apologize.
Sure. The Council on Aging Visioning Subcommittee recommends to the Council on Aging Board that we support the exploration of a site on Shattuck Street to gain expanded space for the Elder and Human Service / Council on Aging needs. We ask that special attention be given to ensure adequate parking is also included. The subcommittee voted unanimously to approve this statement.
Okay, thank you. So I would leave that up to the board to ask what you wish. Do you wish to formally accept that as a position for the full board regarding the senior center project on Shattuck Street?
I'm for it.
You're for it, Maureen?
I am.
Well, good. I'm glad. All right. Do I have a motion? Can someone make a motion to take a vote on that?
I move that we accept the vision committee's statement,
Position statement
position statement.
on the senior center project.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, do I have a second to that?
Second.
Thank you, David. All right, it's been moved and seconded. All right, let's take a vote. Susan,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Anita,
Yes.
Ann Lee,
Yes.
thank you. Gary,
Yeah.
thank you. Maureen,
Yes.
and Marge is a yes, so and Mark, sorry,
Yes.
okay. It's a unanimous vote, thank you. All right, and moving on quickly, then the second issue is the Housing Subcommittee, and they have an official statement, and Patty's been sitting there quietly waiting for us to get to this, I think. So, thank you, Patty. It's good to see you.
I always show up like a bad penny. It's terrible.
Oh, I don't think so. I don't
One
think
of
it's like,
these days you won't see me, guaranteed.
oh, no, I hope not. We're gonna be in person soon.
Well, anyway, the statement that our committee put together, it's a draft. It's not final, but this is a draft, and it states, the Council of Aging Housing Subcommittee, with a mission to promote, explore, and improve housing for the Littleton senior, hereby advises the Littleton Select Board, Littleton Planning Board, and the Affordable Housing Trust Committee that we, the members of this committee, do hereby and will support housing projects that enhance housing options for Littleton seniors. We support housing options that include the following important components. 1, affordability, not only based on AMI, but also lower costs for market rate. 2, diverse housing, small houses, apartments, townhouses, condos. 3, periodic meetings with the Select Board, Littleton Planning Board, and Affordable Housing Trust Committee to ensure continued shared information. This statement is written as we acknowledge the fact that Littleton currently does not have varied housing option for its seniors and in particular does not have affordable options available to meet these needs. We, the undersigned, approve the statement of support effective, yeah.
Okay. David and Susan, do you have any comments you'd like to add to that? You both have worked hard over this document.
Well, we did, and I totally agree with it. Everybody should be able to get to see it in writing. But what Patty just read, I totally agree with.
Okay. So, yes, Susan?
I totally agree with it too.
All right. And maybe you have raised a good point, David, about everybody seeing a copy of it. How would you like to proceed? Would you like to postpone the board making a total decision on that today?
Well,
And
okay,
get the copy out to them?
well, I think it's probably, I mean, except for the yada, yada, yada part at the end, you know, I'm good with it all. I was gonna ask, if the visiting committee one would also get posted so that we could see it and read it. Okay, and maybe just, everybody's heard it. Everybody can say whether they like, this subcommittee's, report. And maybe on the 14th, we can just say, okay to both of them. I don't
Okay.
know, but we've already voted on the visioning one, but, you know, I'll just leave it right there.
Well, no, but you raised a good point, and if there are changes that people, I will send out both of those documents to the board, and we can put it on the agenda for June 14th and revisit it. We can always amend our vote, change our vote, rescind it. So would that make sense to everyone?
Well,
Is there, sorry, is there a reason to take a vote before town meeting?
Not
Is there
really.
urgency to this?
I do not believe that, I mean, we voted at our last meeting to support the project, the article on the warrant for the senior center project. And that I've actually sent in a publication to the Eagle Independent stating that if it gets published, stating that the Council on Aging is supporting and did vote to support XYZ articles. So that is out there, Mark. The fact that we are supporting that and, not the exact wording I didn't get into, but I know we did approve, if you recall at our last meeting, warrant 10 in supporting warrant 10. So Article 10, rather, on the warrant. So, but we just never voiced these statements at our last meeting. Yes, Patty?
I could send it to you and you could send it off to the board tonight or something.
I will do that. I can do that.
I'm fine with accepting it or postponing it.
Well, if everybody's good with it, then let's just do it. But I would still say.
Voted on it. And then if there needed to be any changes done, it could be done in June.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we vote on the Affordable Housing Subcommittee mission statement as written, except for the yada yadas at the end.
Oh, I was gonna second it until you said not the yada yada part.
The yada 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 was the effective date.
Okay.
All right, we
Okay,
have a
then I'll
motion.
second it.
Okay, we have a motion and seconded. Thank you. All right.
Motion.
Pardon me?
Who motioned?
David,
David did. And Mark, I think seconded it. Wasn't you, Mark?
yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay, let's take that vote. Mark seconded. I'm going to start with you for the vote.
Yes.
Thank you. Susan?
Yes.
Thank you. David?
Yes.
Anita?
Yes,
Ann Lee?
Yes.
Gary?
Yes.
Maureen?
Yes.
And Marge is a yes. Thank you. Okay, and I will send both of those out. Patty, do send me that.
Yes,
So I don't
I
have to,
will.
I have a copy, but it'll be easier quicker for me if you just send it and I don't have to go find it. Thank
I
you.
can do that.
Thank you. And I will send you out a copy of the statement. The minutes from the Housing Division Subcommittee have not been officially approved, but their minutes have the statement in the minutes, so. Okay, I can't release the total minutes though, because they haven't approved them. All right, moving on. We are fortunate today in having a guest with us, and I invited Nathan Long to come and speak to us because I was quite rude at our last meeting. He had his hand raised and I didn't recognize him. And that was my error. And so I've asked him to come, even though the article, you know, what was the number of it? 40R? Is that what it was? Susan, you were good on the numbers of articles, but anyway, that is not going to be discussed at the town meeting, but Nathan would like to talk to us and share some information with us. So can you bring him on board? Ashley, is he? Great. And so I understand some of you know Nate Long. I've talked to him on the phone, but I've never met him. There he is. Nice to see.
He looks just the same as he did when he was 14.
Oh. You're
Except for the
muted.
beard.
You're muted, Nate.
I was going to say 14. I knew you long before that.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, like 11.
Right.
Maybe earlier, yeah.
Yeah,
But at 14, you didn't have that beard.
that's true. That's new. Only fake ones that maybe you put on.
Yes, I did. We did a lot of makeup together.
That's true. Thanks very much for the invitation. I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you guys. I did watch the last meeting that you guys had and understood the perspective of not taking a position on the 40R. This was before it was going to be postponed. Not taking a position as something not senior specific. I was disappointed that some people spun that to say that the Council on Aging was against the idea. I know your chair spoke up at different times to say that that's not the case. It was not a vote against it, but I did just want to take a second. Part of the reason I believe that the planning board and the select board decided to push this off till the fall town meeting is because they felt like there was incorrect information out there and that they wanted people to be able to vote on it knowing what the actual facts are and what the idea behind the project would be or the proposal would be. So just on the issue of it not being a senior specific article, and I confirmed this with the town planner today just to make sure the way I understood it was the way that she understood it, and that is the case. If the town does propose this as a 40R rezoning, the state doesn't let the town age restrict that in the zoning, but there's absolutely nothing that says that the owner, so I should clarify, my family owns the property, a large portion of the redistrict in the proposal, the 40R rezoning. It's the property completely directly adjacent to the train station. So the parking lot abuts where my family owns the property. There's nothing, despite the fact the state won't let the town put into the bylaw age restrictions, there's nothing that prevents the landowner or the developer from putting in an age restriction. And then the planning board allows that. That's the process. That's the way it would work. And for my father, one of the biggest goals of the whole project is to get additional senior housing in there. So the whole idea behind the project would be much like what Mrs. Hunt described. It would be, at least on our property, the way it's drawn right now would be apartments and townhouse units. The nursing home property would have a section of it, the way it's drawn right now, that would have single family cottages. But our property would consist of two zones, according to the planning board's plans. One would be for some apartments and one would be for townhouses. All of those would be in the 1 to 2 bedroom range. I think they very much fit what Mrs. Hunt was talking about. And we are committed to having some of that be some type of age restriction on there. We're not developers. We haven't hired a developer. That would be something that would happen down the road once it does get rezoned. But the at least plan would be to have some of it age restricted, and without a doubt, many of those units, or all the units, fit the type of description that Mrs. Hunt was talking about. Whether it's for people moving to buying their first home, renting their first place, moving back from college to Littleton because they're from the area, or people who want to downsize out of their single family home on 1 acre and they don't want that anymore, but they don't want to leave town. So I just wanted to clarify a little bit of that because I think there's some incorrect information out there, and we're also looking to do as much as we can with state and federal help. And again, we can't promise anything because we don't know what we'd be able to get. But if we are able to lower what they call AMI, average median income, I believe is what it stands for. If we're able to lower that on any of the units that are going in on the property, the priority would be to lower them for the age restricted units. So those are our goals of the property. Those are our goals in working with the planning board. I know a couple of planning board members have said publicly that they approached us, or the Station Area Committee approached us about this. This wasn't an idea that we came up with. We think their ideas are great, and we agree with the concept, and we are on board with working with them. But this was not something that we went to them with. They had been working on it already and had been studying it with a grant from the state to look at adding housing to this area because its location next to the train station, and how it fits into the master plan. Because we're a local family, I think they came to us and said, how interested are you working with us? And we've been working with them hand in hand ever since. So it's not a situation where we were pushing to try and put apartments on the property initially, but it really does make sense. Like I said, it's been pushed to the fall, so we have plenty of time to work with people, or talk with people, and figure out what the best way to do it would be. And then once if this ever did pass in the fall, all that is the rezoning, and then we start from there and go forward with the planning board and working hand in hand with the planning board, and that's where we can get into age restricting some of the townhouses. Are we able to age restrict one of the floors in the apartment building? All those types of things get worked out with the planning board after the fact. But so I just wanted to clarify that the bylaw cannot say senior housing because the way it's being rezoned is a 40R. But our goal and our plan is to very much have this be a senior housing be an aspect of this and a part of this.
And it's allowed within that 40R concept.
That's correct. We can do it. We can ask the town to allow it, and then the planning board says, okay, you want to age restrict 20 units, you want to age restrict this floor of 10 units in the apartment, you want to age restrict a certain number of townhouses. You can do they sign off on it, we're on board with it, and that's all allowed in this project. That was according to Mara, and that's how I understood it too, but I reached out to her today just to confirm that, so that when I spoke to you guys, I knew I had the right information. So there will be some age restriction in there. That is our promise. I mean, it's my father's #1 goal on the project. We will have age restriction in there. The number of units, I don't know how that all works. There obviously is going to be a large percentage of them that are going to be market rate. I can tell you that I would love to see, whether it's age restricted or not, some of the units built with a price point in mind. A price point where if somebody owns a single family Cape in Littleton, they're able to either rent for as long as they want or buy and leave some equity in the bank. So I'm looking to have some of these units, 1-bedroom units that are perfect for a senior looking to downsize, whether that's age restricted or not. And there will be some age restriction, but whether that is age restricted or not, there should be some units in there that are lower than what that senior would be able to sell their single family Cape in Littleton for and be able to comfortably keep some money in the bank. If we approach it with the price point in mind, I think we'll be able to do some of the units that way as well. So I think that there's well, I know that there's potential for much upside for some of these opportunities that Mrs. Hunt, you talked about a little while ago. And not only is it creating the housing diversity, but there will be some age restriction in some of the units.
Yeah, I appreciate hearing that. Thank you.
Thank you, Nathan.
Any questions for Nate?
Yes, if I can, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Hi, Nate. It's Gary Wilson, one of the newer members on the COA. How are you?
Good, thanks, Gary.
I had some of the concerns expressed in the last meeting, and I think just listening to you now, it kind of helped. It quelled some of my initial concerns. Understanding how 40R works is another thing that I think we as a board need to dig into. I know that it's not heavily utilized yet in Massachusetts. Very few communities and no surrounding communities that we are currently using it. And that was kind of my initial concern. But I think we as a board somehow need to get out asking the current resident senior population of Littleton what the interest is in something down at in that area. Because even if we put some age restriction in there, all we're doing probably is pulling population from other communities into Littleton, which really isn't how we're trying to benefit this senior population of Littleton. So I think this gives us some more time just to kind of get the feelers out there. What is the population that would be interested in a downsizing like that? And we can get a little bit more closer to cost points and things like that.
I think that's something that we would work with this group on. If you had that information for us, that we would take that information and that could be our target. I have to double check to make sure this is 100% true with Marn, but I'm almost certain that we can also give local preference. So that this can be rezoned, we can age restrict, and we can give local preference.
Could I
Thank you.
interject?
Go ahead, Anita.
Going along with what Gary said, it might be something that we do and work with Nate, that we do a survey and send out a survey to our list of seniors in town and ask them those questions. Is that a viable location? Would you be willing to move there if the price was right? And other questions that we can come up with, so that would sort of trigger how Nate can go forward. I mean, if the population says it's too far out of town, there's no transportation to get us back and forth to town, whatever their reasons might be, that might change the fact that there would be housing there, but it wouldn't be senior housing. I mean, that's how we find out, is to put the survey out.
Madam Chair, just to add to that, I think those are all good points, Anita, but also it'll help Nate and his family and work with the planning board on how many units we really need to be senior driven, right?
Right.
That's a big issue too. If it becomes more of a diversified housing for everybody else, if we only have to restrict a few of the units. So we don't know what that is yet. We have no
We wouldn't want to restrict them and have them be empty, if that's what you're saying.
Right,
Yeah.
that's
Right.
That doesn't do anybody any good. I agree with that.
Right.
David, you have your hand raised. You're muted.
Okay, sorry. I believe I spoke with you the other day. I was trying to get something on the agenda, and I was just looking to see if it was there. I can't pull it up right now, but I believe that I suggested that we actually talk about a survey at our next meeting next week. Subcommittee, the Affordable Housing Subcommittee, talk about a survey. Because we need more information, and we need it from the seniors. So that sort of falls in with what you're all talking about. So maybe it should be all hands on deck survey instead of just a subcommittee.
Patty, do you have your hand raised? Patty?
No, I didn't. I'm sorry. No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I'm holding my head up.
So we,
Sorry, this is Mark. It's a little bit of a sticky issue here though with, if you're picking a project to support, to ask a survey about, because the board should be independent of which project, right?
No. I
No,
don't-
I'm saying it's really hard to say that, do we support senior housing at this 40R development versus any other development, right? You have to stay separated from the two.
That's not that wasn't even what I said. What I said was we need a survey to determine what type of housing
Yes.
that we're looking for in Littleton. We don't even know what people want.
I agree with that. You just need to make sure that it's project neutral. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Maybe that's why it should be an all hands on deck deal instead of just a subcommittee.
It could be, sometimes the subcommittee, it's a little bit easier to at least kick a survey
Right.
off the ground. But then it
Yep.
becomes, a tool that the whole board supports, but maybe the subcommittee could, start to put together something and then it can go to the full board and be tweaked and et cetera. But I understand what Mark's saying. Mark, it's a very good point. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
So,
knowing what the goals of this group would be and Mrs. Hunt's group would be, would absolutely help us in how we would go about even beginning to lay out a property. I mean, we've put some stuff out there that at the request of the Littleton Station Area Committee, but if this passes in the fall, that's when we would really get started in trying to figure out what would go there and what would work.
Right.
And being able to incorporate what this group found out, or working with this group to say what should be our goals and what should be our ideal price point, and how do seniors want to live on this property if we're going to be able to do that, then that would really help us and something that we would appreciate.
no, I think, well, the survey could be phrased and it could be looking, and the questions could be about, how far, how close do you want to be to the center of town or whatever, and things of that nature, so that you're not really addressing it as a 40R survey, type of
Right.
survey. Yes.
I would say just for this piece, the location of the train station there would promote there to be some type of shuttle service that goes around from the train. It's a good spot to even incorporate that type of shuttle service going back and forth from the train station too.
Right. And I mean, we have a great transportation system through EHS now, when it's fully up and it's resuming slowly, and adding more days, but still, but we do need to get some information, so it might be a great project to work on and get some feedback from the seniors in town.
Well, we would appreciate that, especially, like I said, if it passes in the fall, then that would be one of the first places we would look. And hopefully now that this is, I've been able to help the chair shoot down some of those rumors that are out there that the Council on Aging was against the project, or against the bylaw, the article, because that I thought was unfair characterization of what happened last meeting.
Thank you very
I
much.
agree.
Yes, thank you, Nate, for
Yeah.
doing that. So, and I had not heard or seen those comments, but I trust you for sure, so that they're out there, so. Okay, I think that's a great suggestion, though, the idea of a survey in general could be, and we can talk to Ashley about it and see how she feels and what we can, that would be helpful too. So, all ideas are welcome. Yes, Mary?
I just want to let Nathan know that as the council giving the opinion that we weren't in favor of this 40R. I, as a citizen of Littleton, Nathan, am in favor of the 40R, hoping that it would become beneficial for the seniors. I mean, I'm a senior, but I thought I'm looking at it as an individual as well, thinking, okay, if I became a widow, that'd be a great place that I would want to go. So it has a lot of options for Littleton for a lot of reasons. Hopefully more benefit for seniors if we all understand what this has to offer. And that's where I was trying to think of coming from at being on the board, but just wasn't connecting right. We didn't have all the correct information. But I think as a citizen of Littleton, I think it could offer a lot as well.
I hope so. I agree with you. And I look at this group right here and I see David Sill, who spent thousands of hours volunteering for my Pop Warner games. Mrs. Harding, who spent thousands of hours volunteering at the plays. Mrs. Melander, who was a key role model for me when I was first elected to the school committee a long time ago. And if any of those people don't want their single family house anymore, then there's, for whatever reason, then there's no place for them to go. And I think that that'd be terrible that if they had to leave town, if they, just because there were no other options. And that's, that it's just a huge part of what we see is what could be a benefit of this property would be at least giving an option to those people who made Littleton what it was. And the reason so many people have moved here is because people like that who volunteered and made the schools what they were and made the youth programs what they were. And that, that being able to at least offer that type of housing, and again, getting into the, make it reasonable and a possibility for them if they decided that's the way they wanted to go, that would be one of the major goals.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's just so much lack of information about the whole project that if you look at the whole umbrella, you can't help but visualize what it can do for seniors with a few zoning changes. And I think that's what we were missing. I think it's got great opportunities, but that's just a personal opinion. But I do think it can help the seniors.
All right, you're right, Nate Long. There are people that I've known that have left Littleton because there was no place to go. So, I mean, that's already happened, and it's happening on occasion. So.
Yeah, and we won't be able to stop all of that. People still will want to leave and all that stuff. But at least to have an option, know something exists would be nice.
Well, I think, your presence today has been very helpful to the board as to understanding, and certainly has given the housing subcommittee, a task to consider and the whole board to consider actually, but yeah. And, there's possibilities for sure out there. And I think we do have time to try to help get the word out depending, and we haven't done a lot of that, and we can spiff up our efforts there. Another challenge, Ashley. So as far as getting the word out in this town, two things. It's so hard to get the word out to people in this town. So it really is accurate information,
Right.
So.
And
all right.
Just to clarify, so the age restricted, there will be age restricted units in there.
Yep.
It can't be in the bylaw. It can't be in the article, I should say, but.
I got that. I heard you loud and clear. I think we all did. So great. Are there any other questions for Nate?
No, I just got to thank him for, I got to thank him for being so open, but basically this old man understood everything he said. That's the part that I enjoyed. So thank you, Nate.
Oh, yes. Thank you ever so much. And feel free, stay in touch with us, please, so that we can.
Well, for sure. Especially if this passes in the fall, we'll be in touch and see if you are planning on doing that survey, then, hopefully once this passes, we can start working on that. And if anybody in the meantime, it's, feel free to reach out to me and can come walk the property and see what could go where. And I think once people come out and see it, a lot of times they see that where the apartments would go down the hill by the highway and all that. Again, this was all laid out by the station area committee, but it really does make sense to put those buildings away from Foster Street and all that. And at least for this project, the way that they envisioned it does really work for the property. So anybody who's welcome, like, come down and let me know, and I'll meet them down there, and we can look at how things would go.
Great, thank you. That's a wonderful opportunity. So,
All right.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everyone.
Nathan.
all righty.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you
Say hi
very
to
much.
say hi to the family, okay?
I will.
All right. Is there any other business to come before the board today? No, I see Maureen mouthing no, so she's muted. All right, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. And our
That's
next
Maureen-
meeting, our
That's
next
Maureen's
meeting,
job.
that's Maureen's job.
That's Maureen's job.
I move that we adjourn.
And do I hear a second?
Second,
Thank you, David. Okay, last vote for this meeting. Mark.
Yes.
All right, Susan,
Yes.
David, yes.
yes.
Anita,
Yes.
Ann Lee? Ann Lee, you're muted, but did you nod your head? Yeah, okay. Maureen, yes?
Yes.
Thank you, and Marge is a yes. Did I miss
Patty,
Gary?
yes.
Gary,
Bye.
Gary, Gary,